Yeah, yeah. If you know the roots of it, you will find the truth in it. If you know the roots of it, you would make good use of it. Now listen, they have been hiding the truth for so long, yeah, trying to tell the people, using the herb is so wrong, yeah. It has been there since 10,000s of years. Now is the time to drive away those fears. Come on, people, open up your ears. That's why we're singing it loud and clear. If you know the roots of it, you will find the truth in it. Rick Simpson knows the roots of it. That's why he makes good use of it. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. This is the cannabis song. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. This is the cannabis song. Bob Marley said, excuse me while I light my spliff now, knowing that the cannabis is a precious gift, yeah. It has been there since 10,000s of years. Now is the time to drive away those fears. Come on, people, open up your ears. That's why we're singing it loud and clear. If you know the roots of it, then you will find the truth in it. Darkcity Radio knows the roots of it. That's why we make good use of it. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. This is the cannabis song. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. This is the cannabis song. So I beg you, do not turn youths into criminals by declaring something good into illegal. It is helpful, it is useful, it is natural for your meditation, inspirational. Known all over the world, it's international. From the Rasta man down to the gardener, they use it as a holy sacrament, well spiritual. The only crime about it, it's still illegal. If you know the roots of it, then you will find the truth in it. Rick Simpson knows the roots of it. That's why he's telling the world to make good use of it. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. This is the cannabis song. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Yeah. My little cannabis song.
Well done, brother. Well done. Great song. I love the way you put it all together.
Thank you.
That's a wonderful piece of music. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Simpson, and I'll be your host for the next 2 hours on Darkcity Radio, the voice of truth. Before I do my the little thing I've written here, I have to explain that I've got a head cold, and although the oil kept me from getting a real sore throat and a cough, I still have the head cold, and it has affected my voice, and I do have a little bit of a headache to go with it. So please bear with me. If it were not for the fact that I would like to bring a halt to all this suffering as quickly as possible, one might be able to look at the way the system is responding to our needs in a different way. But people are dying needlessly at an alarming rate, simply because they lack an effective medicine to treat themselves. And I really do not see where anyone in authority is doing much to help their plight. Doctors, researchers, and drug companies are still trying to use the same old tired rhetoric to mask what they have been really doing. It seems that according to them, more research and double-blind testing are now the order of the day. But can we, the public, really be expected to go along with these deceptions? But can we, the public, really be expected to go along with these deceptions when there are countless examples of this plant's healing powers everywhere? All they have ever done in the past is hide the truth from us anyway. So would it not be rather foolish of us to put any trust in what they are saying now? These highly educated types try to give us the impression that a healing substance must have their approval. But in reality, why should any of us require their blessings when it comes to the use of man's oldest known and safest medication? I, for one, no longer care what doctors and researchers think, and there are countless others just like me who have witnessed miracles after they have produced and used the amazing oils that can be acquired from the cannabis hemp plant. So why would we care about the opinions of overeducated buffoons that have done nothing but lie to us and muddy the waters in the past? There are even many who are well recognized in the hemp movement whom I feel have done everything possible to hold the use of this life-saving substance back. I really do not know if they are being paid off by the rich elite to do this, or whether it might just be ego and rank stupidity on their part. But nonetheless, individuals like Lester Grinspoon and Mark Orenda, along with some others who are well known to the hemp movement, have made statements about this oil that proves them to be little more than fools. Mark Orenda runs Treating Yourself magazine, an upper-end hemp publication in Canada. But he tells people that he does not agree with the way in which I produce the oil because I use poison solvents, and he feels this presents a danger to the public. What an upstanding man. And isn't it a shame that he does not know what he is talking about? My oils have been tested many times, and no poison solvent residues have ever been found if my instructions are followed. So it seems that either Mark Orenda is badly misinformed, or could it possibly be there are other motives behind his statements? Then we have the world-renowned Lester Grinspoon, who is considered an expert in the field of psychiatry, a branch of medicine that does not even have any medical science to back it up. In other words, psychiatry for the most part is considered a hoax by those who know anything about the subject, and this is the profession that Lester chose to follow. Somewhere along the road, he also started to become recognized by some as being someone who is quite knowledgeable about the medicinal use of cannabis. But judging from some of the statements he has made regarding this oil, heaven knows why. When dealing with medicinal plants, everyone knows the essential oils which can be produced contain most of the medicinal value. So if Lester Grinspoon actually does have any medical knowledge about this subject at all, how could he have made the statements he did about the highly purified oils I was producing and healing everyone with? Does he not know that cannabis has always been regarded as the most medicinal plant on earth? And why should it come as a surprise to any highly trained medical professional that oils produced from this plant could have amazing healing powers? You do not need a medical background to see the simplicity in what I'm saying. The essential oil from the most medicinal plant on earth is the most effective, harmless, non-addictive medication known to man. And I think it's time we all start demanding free access to this medication that so many of us badly require. I started bringing the truth about the healing power of this plant to the public's attention over a decade ago. And since that time, I've had to dispel all the lies the system we suffer under has put in place. Although what I have stated about the medical wonders this plant can provide cannot be denied, still the medical system continues to reject its use in favor of their tried and true poisons that do nothing but harm. And the mainstream media has done everything possible to carry on this charade. To me and many others now, the truth is plain to see, and it has become obvious to us that no one in authority is worthy of our trust. And if we want to be healed, it is now up to the general public to deal with this matter. I think that we have all seen enough suffering and dying, and surely by now vast numbers of us have come to realize that our current system is doing everything possible to bring about our demise. So why do we continue to go passively along with this madness, when indeed we know they are leading us to destruction? Isn't it about time for us all to come together and bring about the changes that we all know must take place? I honestly feel that if we do not stand up for ourselves and our rights as human beings, then we will have a very grim future indeed. Set the cannabis hemp plant free. and let it provide us with a way of life that does no harm to ourselves or the earth we inhabit. Then we can begin to live as humans should. Okay, Paul, could you pass up the numbers so people can get in touch with us?
I certainly will, Rick. My pleasure. The numbers are, if you're outside the UK, it's +44 161 298 0298. If you're inside the UK, little simpler, it's 0161 298 0298. Alternatively, you can Skype us at Bob's Backyard. You can join us in our chat room, which is on the IRC on AnonNet, and the channel is Bob's Backyard once again. Now you can access all this, plus the archives, or at least some of the archives, and we're a little bit behind with the website, but it is coming together, so don't panic there. And that website is at www.darkcityradio.com. So there's the info. Please ring in. We have put a bit of time and effort into posting this out on the old internet, and I don't think many people I've been talking to recently have heard of the internet. So, but yeah, we are making some headway, at least I hope we are. I'm starting to see people arriving on the server as we're speaking.
A little bit earlier, Paul, we were talking about David Icke and Alex Jones. Could you elaborate a bit on what's going on there?
Oh, yes. Well, well, Alex Jones today, I don't know. I'm not a great lover of the Broadcasting Bollocks Corporation here in the UK. I won't even give their full title out because I don't want to support them in any way at all. But obviously Alex mustn't know what we know regarding the British Bollocks Corporation. He mustn't know this. Most of us are quite aware in the UK, and I thought worldwide, that this was a paedophile group. I'm not everybody who works there, of course, and I'm not saying everyone who has been accused of being actually a paedophile is. It's obviously become obvious for even in the major press that some of these what are stars and people in positions of authority and power and influence have actually been coerced and often tricked into these positions by unscrupulous individuals and children of 14 and 15 years of age, which actually have been presented as 18, 19 and 21 years of age and so forth. So anyway, we know this about the BBC. Whichever it is, it's been going on, and we know it has. Well, Alex decides to go on the BBC show, and it's quite a laid-back, morning-ish type programme, and goes on full Alex rant mode. They're asking him to be quiet. He's shouting. He keeps shouting Infowars.com. And I'll tell you what, I'm not a big supporter of the truth movement. I think the truth is pretty rigid. It don't really move about. And once you find it, you don't really, well, why would you want to move? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But hey, there's a lot of good people, with good intention, working towards, benefiting themselves and other people. They're not doing any harm at all. They are good, genuine people. I think Alex has just destroyed it. He's gone on British television and made every single one of us look like a complete and utter fool. A complete fool. Really has. Really has. And then we've got, well, I don't know, man. It's everybody knows this situation. I mean, Alex knows about us here at Dark City. We know he knows. He's been told. Now, I get that Alex can't come on Dark City. He can't come on here. And he can't really support you openly, Rick. Although I know he does support what you're doing. I know he does. And I know he supports what we're doing. But Alex can't come on Dark City because his handlers won't let him. Now that tells me something, that. That really tells me something. We've got individuals there in the world that are out there telling us that we've got to be free. That the New World Order is going to come and chop our heads off at any minute. And it's rubbish. We've got David Icke now, who set up an alternative media stream. Well, that's right, it is. It's a corporate alternative media stream. That's took £100,000, and he's already got the money, and that'll keep it running for 6 months, where the advertising revenue will take over. Now, look, everyone out there, please, don't take my word for this. Go and check it out. You cannot speak out against the advertisers. Simply, if we had something like, I don't know, Mrs. Bergen's soap, right? And we've got somebody then saying, oh, you don't need to use soap. You can make it out of cheese, right? You know whatever it is. They won't like that. We won't like. We can't. It just doesn't work. We all know it doesn't work because the advertisers pull out and they use their financial influence to say what's done and what's not done. So I'm at a loss, me. I really am at a loss. What these individuals are doing at the moment, gathering round the Bungley Burgers. Apparently, the Bungley Burgers are giving out free hamburgers down in London. The burger, you got to build a burger. Build a burger. Excuse me. But it's a circus troupe that's turned up, and literally, from what I'm seeing, it's a circus. They've organised it as a circus. They've got people coming down. Everybody who's down there, they're portraying every single one across the whole of the media now as being conspiracy theory, lunatics and idiots. What I would like to say to both David Icke and to Alex Jones is thank you very, very much indeed for not associating yourself with myself and Darkcity Radio and Rick Simpson. We are not lunatic conspiracy theories. We're not. You know, we're not. We are the mainstream. This is the mainstream, and we are very proud of that. We're very proud of it, and we don't really want lunatics coming in. People who are going to tell us the Earth's going to end in 1997. You know, these are the people we're actually expecting to believe now, and that is just fear-mongering. Reptilian shapeshifters are going to come and get you in the night. It's bullshit, David. It always has been. And it always will be. The Queen is working with a reptilian ideology, yes. But this doesn't mean that she turns into a lizard and drinks the blood of baby children. Get a grip. Get a grip. You're not doing us any good. You know, so yeah, there's my little bit of an infill. And that took me all of 5 minutes to work out. Just because of this shit that I was posted this morning. It really did. The power of the word, Rick, it's really... I mean, and if people want to go chanting, build a burger, I'm not, you know, that lot. Them lot. You know, I'm not even going to empower them by using their name. I'm really not.
Well, I quite agree, Paul. David Icke has always been one of my biggest supporters, and I really don't know what he's doing right now, but maybe he has something up his sleeve in the future. I'm not really sure what's taking place here. But I hope I hope he hasn't gone south on us. I don't think he has. But it's really strange the way, that people are handling this subject. And there's so many out there that are literally just standing there in the way, trying to stop us, from helping others and healing the world. And I mean, these people have to be very sick-minded individuals. But there seems to be so damn many of them, and what we're expounding, nobody can say that it's a lie because it's so easy to prove. We told the whole world how to produce their own medicine and how to test it and put it on a skin cancer. Watch what happens, or diabetic ulcer, anything. So, I mean, nobody can debunk a damn thing that we have told the public. And, I just thought by this time that there would be so many more, climbing on board with this subject, but it seems that a lot of people have their own damn agendas, and they fail to see, what's most important. But I think saving the human race right now is the most important subject, that I can imagine. So I'm hoping in the near future that that many others will start climbing on board and see the reality in what we're saying here. We're not in this for the money. And I don't have any handlers. I do not advertise. I have no advertisers. Although, I could have put, my website, Phoenix Tears, is getting over 1 million hits a month. And I could have put advertisers up on my website and made money. but I wanted to keep the message pure. But today it's just, I find it so frustrating. I'm doing so many of these shows, and I've been contacted by individuals who wanted me to do shows and things of that nature, and I've agreed. And but now and then they'll turn around, and it's just like they're playing mind games with me. You chase them all over the place to try to do the show, and then you don't even get a reply. As a matter of fact, one gentleman just recently here, about 3 months ago, he wanted me to do his show. I agreed, but all of a sudden, you couldn't reach him. Now, 3 months later, and I don't get any apology or nothing, and then 3 months later, he contacts me again like I should jump on, and do his show. So I just told him that I don't have time for this foolishness, and I don't like people playing mind games with me. So, and he wrote back that he felt that what I told him was rather harsh. But, when you're playing with people like me, like the message I'm sending is very important. And I don't play games with people, and I don't want people to do the same with me. So this gentleman is going to have to like it or lump it, because there's no possible way in the world that I will ever do an interview with him. And I've done the same to quite a few others. But this is what you have to do. Because, in my situation, if I didn't do this and I didn't handle myself in this way, then they would literally drive me insane with their nonsense. And I can't allow that to happen. So I hope you understand, my sentiments on this subject. And I just don't know what's wrong, with their heads. When you contact somebody like me and you want an interview and they agree, then you should go out of your way to try to do it. But, from what I've seen, there are individuals out there that do just the opposite. So I just don't have time to try to work with people like that. All right, I guess we got Rachel's come in from Spain, and, we got quite a few people here today. This is good.
Yeah, it is. Rachel's not in Spain, I think. I don't know if she's actually with us or not. She has been trying to get in, and I didn't think she was going to make it. But I think Rachel's actually in Britain at the moment.
Oh, okay. I just seen Spain underneath her name there.
Yeah. Well, she normally is. She's travelling. Are you there, Rachel?
Yep, I'm here. I'm in the UK at the moment. And I'm off to Bali tomorrow. My 3 weeks away, which I'm looking forward to.
Well, do you have anything new to report, dear?
Not at this minute. Unfortunately, I got all my days muddled up. And I thought you were on last night, and I thought I missed you because I couldn't get on the internet. So, and then I've just suddenly realised that you were on now, so I'll be with you in a bit.
Okay, dear. Don't worry about it. I get muddled up, too. All that time I spent in Europe, half the time I didn't even know what month it was. Traveling can do that to you, I guess. Oh. No, I look at this whole, what's happening worldwide and the situation we're in. I guess like the English band Dire Straits, we're certainly in dire straits, as we speak. And there's so much happening, today that it's causing so much suffering everywhere. And it's needless, for God's sakes. And we can call a halt to all of this. All we got to do is get together and stand as one. But it's so hard to bring the people together, when the mainstream media is working against you, the government's working against you, the medical system, legal system, all of them are working against us. And I just cannot for the life of me figure out why, because, all these people, they have loved ones and people, near them that are suffering and dying too. And these people can be helped. But yet they'll stand there and, we got to stop the world from having access to that terrible cannabis hemp plant. If that's not insanity, I don't know what else you could call it. Because, if you look at the history of this plant, it's man's oldest friend. What plant has done more, for the human race than cannabis hemp? We've used it throughout history. It was probably man's first cultivated crop. We've used it for clothing, medicine, food, building materials, fiber. It just goes on and on and on all through history. And there was never any reason for this plant to be outlawed in the first place. It was just outlawed because the big money wanted it that way, because it presented a threat to their profit margins. But why should we die due to the profit margins of these big corporations? as far as I'm concerned, to hell with the corporations. You know, I mean, let's bring them down. I mean, we've got to change this world into something that into something that makes some sense. And at present, I don't see any common sense anywhere. You know, it's just a bunch of fools running around trying to fill their pockets. And it seems that they'll stoop to any level to do just that. So we truly are in a sad state of affairs. Okay, Paul, do we have anybody that has a report or anything?
We do have Barry, I think, trying to get in there, but his internet's been dropping on and off. I don't know if he's there. I think he might.
I'm here.
Things.
Yeah, I'm here, guys.
Right.
It's been cutting it out all day here. It's kind of weird what's going on with Skype. How you doing, Rick?
Oh, still with it, brother.
Good. No, I'm going to add to a couple things you said there, Rick. I've noticed, like, in a lot of my conversations with people, the first thing they say to me is, we're going to get arrested, you know? As soon as you start talking about cannabis, it's an automatic in their brain. The police are going to come and get me and lock me up. And it's funny how much you see that common thought amongst people that really haven't looked into this. But on the lighter side of things, a lot of people I'm talking to, Rick, have really started to hear about it. Out of the blue conversations, people are going, yeah, you know, somebody told me about that, and somebody else has told me about that. So the word is getting out there, brother. And including the news stations, the TVs and the radios are really becoming receptive to what you're doing now. A few of them out here have asked for requests for you to talk, and the TV and et cetera, and they all want to put you on the air. That was from me sending links and then looking into your background, bud. And I'm getting very, very positive response from media outlets here in the north, all the way to Prince George. So that's a good thing to report to you, bud.
Oh, it sure is, brother. Refreshing. It's refreshing that the mainstream media is starting to respond, because all these years they have never done that. And I mean, it's given me a lot of grief. And I could never, you know, the mainstream media is supposed to be reporting the truth, you know, but it seems that they've gone out of their way to make sure that they don't. And that's not being responsible as far as I'm concerned. And I think that a lot of the public are starting to see what's going on here. And they realize, I mean, if they want the truth, they have to go to, you know, shows like Darkcity Radio or Papsite Radio and a lot of these different shows that I do. If you want to hear the real truth about this subject, that's where you have to go. But unfortunately, as yet, the mainstream media hasn't done a great deal to bring, you know, the evidence, you know, of the proof in what I'm saying forward. And
we're very liberal here in BC, Rick. We're liberal, and I'll tell you honestly, buddy, I am getting positive feedback from 3 radio stations, 4 tentatively, 3 for sure, that want you to do a little talk and have allowed me, or going to allow me to do a little talk about you prior to you coming to British Columbia. So they are opening up, my friend. This is a main media outlet in Prince George I've contacted. One in Smithers that Miss Hazel made me aware of. They're a very liberal station, and I've had positive feedback from them, and 3 of our locals plus a TV station here are all wanting your time, friend. I'm not going to burn you out when I get here, but I'm sure you'll agree to talking with these guys a little bit. We're going to get you out here for 3 weeks so we can rest you up good and get you some fishing and that kind of thing.
Okay, that sounds good, Barry.
But there's all kinds of neat things going on here, Rick, and everything you say, brother, every day you talk to me, and on the radio here, it is, you really hit the nail on the head that we really are getting into a very critical time in human history, and why this is being held back from the general public it's just a travesty. It's a shame in our society that this information is out there yet, and the mainstream doctors are still writing up prescriptions left and right. I had a real good talk with my doctor about this week, and I made him sit there and listen to me for a few minutes. He is not pro. I had to go to another doctor to get my medical, which is on its way, but I had to go to another doctor to do that. And I really nailed him down this week. And I said, you know, buddy, this wave is going to come, and yet you still refuse to look at it. And I really like to know why. And he kind of got stuck for an answer. And it's the first time I've heard my doctor stuck for an answer. But I keep banging on him, buddy. That's all we got to do is just keep banging on him. Bang on everybody you know. And it is getting out there, my friend. It really is. In this country, anyway. So come to BC. They'll love you.
Well, that's good news, brother. But, I mean, these doctors have to come to realize the way the public's going to look at them in the future. You know, I mean, who's going to put any trust in these people? And why should we?
They're killing us.
They're outright killing us. And, I mean, and we're supposed to sit there and agree with whatever they say and go along with them. And, you know, I think it's just pathetic. But, you know, I'll tell you one thing. I wouldn't go to any doctor that stood in the way of the use of cannabis in medicine. You know, if a doctor told me he did not agree with cannabis, the use of cannabis, then I would realize instantly that this man is not a real doctor, because he's not following his Hippocratic oath. He's just simply in there to play God and to make lots of money. And that's not what healing is supposed to be about.
My son went on the internet there, Rick, and did just a quick rough estimate of the amount of people killed in North America by prescription drugs from 1950. He went on to government sites in the States and got rough reports. You can't put an exact figure on it, but he kind of came up with a figure of 70 million people since 1950 dead because of prescription drugs. And he thinks the number's a lot higher, but he could only go so far with the research. But he did spend a couple hours on the internet doing that for me, and I thank him for that, because he's quite a geek when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I got his attention now too about this. So it's reaching young people. It's reaching young people. And like I said, we're doing that Saturday night at the Armley Theater, and there's a bunch of teenagers coming already, but they're going to come and listen to you.
Good.
I'm looking forward to it, brother. I won't take too much of your time. I know there's other people want to talk. It's all but out right now.
Oh, no, there's no problem. I don't think anybody's in that big a rush today. It seems like a pretty quiet show. But, it's good to get the young people involved, because they are the future. And, if anybody looks into what we're talking about, they'll see the reality in it almost instantly. I mean, just spend a couple hours in front of your computer and research the subject a little bit. And, and there's the truth staring you right in the face. Now, yep. It might affect some people's lives. Yeah, the guys that had the jobs at the pill factory and the doctors and all the rest of them. And and I know we need doctors. Of course we do. But still, we need doctors that are really practicing medicine. And this is not what I'm seeing today in Canada, or in most other countries for that matter. It's hard to believe that the big money has been so successful in spreading this propaganda all over the world. Because just like you said, the minute they mention the word marijuana or cannabis hemp, everybody's afraid of going to jail. But in truth,
it's unreal.
I mean, the law, whatever laws they have in place, they're not even based in reality, for God's sakes. Nobody ever had the right to outlaw this God-given plant in the first place. So
yeah, but we demonized it for 50 years now, and it's such a hypocrisy in our society, guys. Such a hypocrisy that this plant is available and it does what it does. And I've only, like I said, in the last 4 months, really kind of looked hard into the evidence, Rick, but I do spend a lot of time looking at new links. I'm tied in with all kinds of organizations now, and I get links all the time. And every one I read, Bud, just blows my mind. Something new. They're coming up all the time with the use of the hemp plant. Not just in the medical, but I'm talking about outside. I mean, superconductors and other things I'm reading about they're doing with the hemp plant. Just one incredible plant, and it needs to be exposed worldwide to the fullest, period. And we will have a chance of surviving in the future. But the way we're going, buddy, we're a doomed planet, period.
Oh, yeah, if this carries on for much longer, I think we'll pass the point of no return, and then there's no future for any of us. And this is not something I want to see. I mean, I think we can evolve into something that's much better than we actually are at present. And I think we can, build a future for ourselves. But I just hope that not too many people have to die to bring this about. This is the frightening part of it. Why should we have to get up and fight a war, that shouldn't have to be fought? A war against ignorance and against corruption. The worst of it is in our world, we should have never allowed all this corruption in the first place. All our decisions should be based on knowledge and common sense. But big money don't want it that way. Because if you start looking at what they're doing, there is no common sense in it. And of course they're perfectly aware of this. But, like I said, with the news media and everybody working on their behalf and pumping our heads full of all this propaganda all the time, it really has got the people quite mixed up. And I think this is a really sad situation. And I would hate to see mankind end, needless, our whole existence come to an end needlessly just because of corruption. But that could easily take place. So I guess we're the front line to prevent that from happening.
Talking about the front line, Rick, you got Rachel there now. I think she's firing on all guns. You there, Rachel?
Yeah, I'm here. What struck me since I've been in the UK is I'm actually staying with a good mate of mine who was diagnosed about 7 years ago with a brain and spine tumour. She actually refused chemo, and her condition is completely stable now. And she's been following all natural therapies. She hasn't actually tried the oil yet, but that's more a case of that she can't get hold of it in England or at a reasonable expense. She can't come over to Spain for 3 months because it will mess up her benefits. And it just struck me the need for getting this campaign well underway and getting things changed and getting things legalised. You know, how important it all is, you know, that we get somewhere and we get this done. Out of the group of people when she was diagnosed, I can't remember the exact figures, but all the people that refused chemo are the only ones still alive out of her group.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, 18 had chemo, 4 didn't.
There you go. She's just told me that 18 had chemo, 4 people didn't, and we've lost the 18. The only
God.
4 that are still with us are the 4 who refused it.
Well, that should tell people the power, you know, of natural substances. You know, if they're used properly to heal, natural is the way to go. You know, the statement you just made there, well, 18 out of 18 that took chemo are no longer with us. That should tell us right there that what the medical system is doing is not right in any way, shape, or form. But, you know, it's just that they have people so busy today with their lives. You know, we're all running, you know, to get our pensions and to make sure we're at our jobs on time and everything. And, you know, certainly that does have some importance. But, you know, they've got us to the point that it seems that we can't focus on what is important. You know, we're not given the time to do it. You know, most people get up in the morning, go to the factory, do their 8 or 10 hours or whatever, come home and have a supper and maybe a drink or something and watch some television and go to bed, you know, day in, day out. And, you know, like people need some time, well, some downtime to actually think about, you know, what is truly happening around them. But in this world today, it's just like we don't have any downtime. There's always something coming at us, you know, 24 hours a day. And I don't know. It will change, I think, once we get back to some form of reality, because I don't think any of us should be going through life at 90 miles an hour. You know, we're not designed for this. You know, we need a stable type of existence that gives us a longer lifespan, and we need the healthy foods and everything that's required, you know, to keep us in a state of good health. And it seems like the whole damn system is doing just the opposite. You know, eat your genetically modified food and don't ask any questions. And, you know, and as for all that meat that's not safe to eat because it has all those hormones and antibiotics in it, well, don't pay any attention to that. That's not important. This meat is good for you. Well, like, says who? The people that are telling this, they're the ones that own the companies, you know, that are selling this trash. And I'm really gratified lately here. I've been hearing that there's many people in the U.S. that are going after Monsanto and these companies that are doing genetic modification, and I think it's long overdue. And while they're at it, I hope they get rid of this damn Codex Alimentarius, too, because that is lunacy in the extreme. You know, it's when you see these things taking place before your very eyes, yet the people that represent you go along with it. And they don't do anything, you know, to stop it. This is not, they're not representing us, for God's sakes. They're bought and paid for. That's what it is. And they're simply doing the bidding of the rich elite. And that certainly does not leave any room to represent us. So this whole thing with Alex Jones and David Icke, that's really I find that kind of alarming. I mean, I don't know what the hell is happening here. But I can't really see David Icke, you know, changing his stripes, because I think he's done some wonderful work, and I just don't know what the angle is here.
We all make a mistake, one or two, don't we? Like I say, I'm sure that's it. I'm sure it's just the handlers, the people around them, are blocking the information. It's not getting there when it is. But I've had direct or indirect information from another respected person within this community who has passed me a text from David when he actually mentioned about Darkcity Radio and yourselves and a few others about supporting it, and David replied, wait for my announcement next week and then announce the so-called People's Voice. That was underhanded, David, and I know it happened. I've seen your text. That was underhanded. Okay, yeah, I've got no grievance against the guy. If that's what he wants to do, that's fair. I'm more interested in Rachel's mate, who's in the UK, I think, Rachel, and they're going to affect her benefits if she goes outside the UK. If this is a cancer sufferer, then she'll be on sickness benefit or invalidity support. If that is the case, then under European ruling, they can't touch your money for 28 weeks. Okay, that's 6 months outside the country. You've got to return to the country before they touched her. If she does move out of the UK and decides to take permanent residence in another European country, a disability mobility section she will lose, but the carer's allowance she will still keep. And if anybody is actually in Europe and they're not getting this because it was cancelled, you can claim it all back. Now, if anybody's heard that, I've just given you thousands of pounds. Go and do it. All right? Go and do this, and then just send Rick Simpson 1%. How's that? If you would. You know, because literally a lot of people are getting lied to. A non-EEC country you can go to for 28 days. Of course, because this is a prison and you've got to come back and spend your money here. That's the whole idea, that they'll give you this money, providing you're going to spend it in the UK. So yeah, she might do her a great deal of good to look at that, Rachel. I've had these similar things myself in the past, and again, they are lying, cheating scum.
Well, I'd have to agree with that, Paul.
Yeah, well, it is, man. I mean, I think Rachel's trying to get back in. Come on, Rachel.
Yeah, no, I will. I'll get her to look into that, definitely. She was just asking me another question, Rick. Have you treated many people with brain tumours?
Oh, yes. Yes, we treated a great number of people very successfully with this oil. But, you know, the main thing is just trying to keep people away from the medical system. They keep running back to their doctors and taking their prescriptions, and that's really the worst thing they can do. You know, and when I look at, you know, people with brain tumors, that type of thing, you know, what's the medical system offering? You know, we're going to cut your head open and maybe cut out part of the tumor, and then we're going to give you radiation to the brain. You know, that's rather harmful, don't you think? You know, when you have a substance that you can, you know, that there's no blood-brain barrier with the use of this oil. And, you know, this oil is a very effective treatment for all types of cancer. So I think it's nothing more than lunacy to be treating people, you know, with these chemo and radiation and all the rest of the nonsense that they're doing. There's no sense in it. And there never really has been. And there's certainly, like I said, they really do not have much of a survival rate. So that should tell any highly trained medical professional should realize, you know, if 10 out of 10 patients die, well, I'm not doing a very damn good job, am I?
That's commercial, highly trained commercial medicine.
That's right. Yeah. That's what it is. And it's a sad, sad situation, you know, that when we live in a world and people walk around calling themselves doctors who are doing such things. I mean, this isn't madness. I don't know what else you'd call it.
Yeah, just on the tumours, the commercial medicine actually also now agrees with medicine. Of course, we're talking about medicine. They're talking about commercial medicine. You notice how this works with our little radio stream. We are the stream. They are commercial streams. Same thing's happening. The mirror in there, what do they call it? The hologram. It's the same stuff, the same little trick they pull on us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the commercial, keep looking at that. They're selling us something. You know, it's not voluntary. And if you don't do what they say, they threaten to take away your benefits. You know, all right, well, you know, if you're not going to take our medicine, starve and get on the street. That's not what happened. That doesn't go on here. That happens in Nazi Germany. Oh, hang on a minute, I forgot. Excuse me, I was going down a rabbit hole, I forgot. I'm actually living in Nazi Germany. I actually forgot. I mean, that's nothing against the German people, neither. Nothing against the German people. I shouldn't call it Nazi Germany, actually. My apologies there. I'll just call it Nazi. I think Barry's trying to get in there. Is it Sparky? Oh, we missed Sparky out. Sparky, excuse me.
Good evening.
Hey, Sparky.
How you doing? I got Katie here. You spoke with her once before. She's at university doing, what are you doing, a degree?
I do forensic science at university, but I've gone down the medicine route in my life now because this stuff is a lot more important, guys, isn't it? You know, we all feel this. It's going on, people are dying, people are suffering, and it shouldn't be happening. You know, we've got the medicines there. I've got a bit of history, actually, I would like to show you guys.
So Katie's got an article she's found out about the history of cannabis, if you'd like to hear.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
okay,
so
go ahead, Katie.
Basically, there was a shaman who was found in northwest China, and this was recently discovered. Now, there was a bag found in the graveyard with him. He's buried there, and within this leather bag, there was 789 grams of preserved marijuana.
I'm not surprised.
It's amazing. It's been around for thousands, hundreds of years. Our ancestors have been using it, and it's just been washed away from our medical system.
So how long was it buried in the ground for?
2,700 years.
Wow.
I'd
like to have a smoke of that.
That'd be strange and stuff.
It sounds like it was. That sounds like that cannabis might have been grown by McDonald's. Apparently, you can leave their food out on the street, and after 2,500 years, it doesn't break down.
Yeah, I think I've seen that guy. He bought one every day, didn't he?
Yeah, the truth of it is, I know that it's recorded in the earliest I've written recording is in a Vedic medicine from India, and it was used for treatment of back pain after sex. Seriously, that was its original. I'm not making this up.
Probably used before sex as well.
Well, apparently, a lot of people. I don't know. I've never suffered from it, but apparently, a lot of people in our earlier, they must have done more of it. They must have been worn out. I don't know. Yeah, that's what it was recorded for, as for pain relief in the lower back after sex. So often that would be pertained to emotional drama or emotional imbalances of energy. So it makes a lot of sense of that. That it would be used in that manner. Of course, I'd like to kind of make a little bit of a statement. I'd just like to let people know that the truth is there is no cure for cancer. There is no cure for cancer. That is the truth. The truth is, since the turn of the last century, the 1900s, we've been causing cancer. We don't need to cure cancer. We need to stop causing it. It really is that simple. And now this isn't, I'm not actually disputing what's being said here about cannabis, of course, being said that it's a cure for cancer. Of course, cannabis doesn't cure cancer. Cannabis allows you to cure your body, to cure anything. Absolutely. It facilitates, that's the word, the natural healing abilities of the body. And if we stop curing, causing it, okay, just like was pointed out, I think it was Miss Hazel pointed it out a while ago, that, oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was somebody else who wanted to remain. And they actually said to me that Rick Simpson did not, it is not Rick Simpson's oil, because the Victorians had it. And they didn't have, and it's quite true. Rick rediscovered this. It has been around for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and prior, it's only within the last 100, 120 years that we've seen this. And even our commercial, what do you want to call it, competitors, because that's what they are, they're our competitors, even they agree that, especially within tumours, without any doubt at all, that it will reduce the tumour by at least 50%. As far as the tumour is concerned, that the jury's now back in, and cannabis does, as a minimum, on all sides, reduce by at least 50%. Now, I mean, go and talk to somebody in commercial medicine. Go and talk to them and say, commercially, can you tell me how much it'll cost you to remove half a pound of rubbish, or to remove a pound of rubbish? And the answer will be, only one of them is commercially viable. Because the other one will die if they remove it. It's that big, they'll die. So the only answer, the only one, is to reduce the size of the tumour first. Even if you do need to go down having it removed, reduce the size first. That is common sense, you see, which our commercials don't have. They have commercials, we have common. So yeah, please listen to what's being said. Don't take my word for it. Don't take Rick's word for it. Go and look at the hundreds of thousands of people all over the world that are currently coming forward. I mean, apparently, Rick, there's even at the moment a petition going round to get you a pardon. To get you a pardon. And bless the heart of somebody. Somebody actually thought you were in prison, Rick. I have corrected them. I have corrected them because they thought you'd been sent to prison. And they were quite distressed about it, and rightfully so, you know. But yeah, it is out there, Rick. I know it can get a bit downhearting when we hear such things, you know, 18 people and what? Everyone who's took it's dead. Look, them people, those people, look, we haven't lost them. We haven't lost those people. Because I'll tell you, they're standing right with us now. They might not have seen the truth in life. But trust me, you see it in death. You see it in death. And every single one that's fallen before us is with us. Every one of them. Look, and I'm not into giving up my energies to a master or a god or authority to anyone. But I tell you now, and I don't use these words lightly, your gods are with us. Even your gods side with us. You're not just having a go at a few raggedy-ass hippies here, smoking a bit of pot. You're having a go against your own salvation. You're having a go against your own saviour. That's for them that need it. And for those that don't, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. So, you know, you'll only throw rocks at us for so long, and eventually those rocks will build into a mighty wall that you will never traverse. You will never traverse it. People are around you now and they're not leading, but presenting you. Excuse me, let me get the words right. Presenting you with an alternative. And yes, it's different. That means it's not going to be the same. So, you know, please, I beg of every one of you, research it. Don't go and do it forever. Have a look. And let's bring forward these ideologies. Let's work together. Because we are together. It's no remarkable thing to work out that we all breathe the same air and we all poo in the same bucket. You know, we all eat the same kinds of foods, whether it's animal, mineral or vegetable, you know. We all do that. We're all sharing in this experience together. All of us. It's all our reality. It really is. So, you know, go on, Rick, mate. Go on, bro.
I was just going to say that, I think that was well stated, brother. But, I mean, how can we look at this medicine? I mean, supposedly our Savior, Jesus Christ, used the same medicine to heal the masses, for God's sakes. And that's been proven, for a long time now. But yet, people are still rejecting it. I just don't understand, how anybody could, deceive themselves into thinking, that there is something wrong with this plant. None of us have ever seen anybody die from it. And we've seen great numbers, vast numbers healed, worldwide. I mean, I've been contacted by tens of thousands of people that are now cancer-free, or at least that's what they were told by the medical system. And when you look at these people, they certainly look to be cancer-free because they're healthy again. And I think that's what we all want to be. We just want to be healthy, and live our lives the way we should. But we have such a convoluted system here, and so many people today, have become drug addicts and things, thanks to their doctors, because all of these chemicals, or an awful lot of these chemicals and poisons they give us, are addictive in nature. And literally, I think doctors have ruined countless numbers of people's lives, just by getting them on these horrible substances. And, and the result is that in the end they wind up being drug addicts. Cannabis does not do that. It's not a gateway drug. It does not lead you on to the use of harder, drugs or chemicals. It's actually practically everyone I know that uses cannabis, they don't use hard drugs. They just use cannabis because they don't need the hard drugs, and most of them realize the harm, that's involved with the use of these crazy medications. But as long as, like I said, as long as all these people are standing against us and the mainstream media, is backing, the system, then, we as humans really don't have much of a chance. But there are enough of us, I believe, now starting to come together that, we will make the difference and we will bring this medicine back into mainstream use. And when that day comes, everything we know about medicine is going to change. I'm sure 5 years from now or so, we'll look back on this period in history as the darkest chapter that mankind has ever endured. So many people, it's just, there's no way to determine worldwide how many people have died because this medicine has been restricted, but the numbers have to be up in the hundreds of millions, if not billions, that have suffered the consequences of this medicine not being available. And I think that really is a sad, sad statement. But in the future, we'll change it, and, we will put humanity back on the right path. But the simple truth is, we need the cannabis hemp plant to do that. Without the cannabis hemp plant, I don't see how we'll ever get, ourselves straightened out. Because there's just no other alternative right now. And so as far as I'm concerned, cannabis is the way to go. And I wish somebody could come up with a legitimate argument against this. But I have yet. I've been doing this for over 10 years. I have yet to see any legitimate argument that anyone has ever come up with that made any sense. There's no argument against this plant. But yet, we still have the laws, and we still have people being arrested, and being put in jail. Why? All because of corruption. And what I've said, for so many times, the very people that have imprisoned these individuals should be the ones serving the time themselves, because they are nothing more than criminals. That's the bottom line. And I don't care if it's a judge, a lawyer, or whoever, or whatever. When you put somebody in jail for growing a God-given plant, then there's something wrong with your head. And I think the general public should come to realize that in the near future.
On that note, we'll take a break, Rick?
Okay, brother, sounds good.
This is a public health announcement. Cannabis cures cancer.
Tell you all a little bit about a plant I know that can save the world. Grows long and tall and has flowers that can make your mind swirl. It's a funky plant with a fiber that is resistant to rain and mold. It's the strongest plant fiber known to man, the best rope you'll ever hold. Well, the pioneers covered up the wagon trains with the canvas made of hemp. And Washington and Jefferson grew it on their farms and said to make the most of it. First stars and stripes were sown on hemp, first Constitution too. It's around the world for food, fiber, oil, medicine, and fuel. But if we press its seeds, we won't have no need for any other oil. We can make paints and inks, run our car, we'll grow back next season. It'll fix the soil, the most nutritious seed we can put in our mouth with omega-6 and 3. We can feed the world with the tree of life and live sustainably. But if we cut down all the trees, we won't have nowhere to breathe. Grow fields of hemp instead. We can make our paper, build a house from it. If the God is plant going wild and free, living the way that we ought to be. Gonna leave my children a better world than my ancestors left me. Whoa, whoa. Flowers of the female hemp plant make the best medicines on earth. Helps cancer and AIDS patients eat their food. Helps those with depression overcome the blues. Glaucoma, epilepsy, nausea, insomnia, stress, neurosis, psychosis, pain, PMS. All the studies have been done and all the doctors agree that they can't make money off this plant, you see, because it's free. It grows from the seed, wild and free, like we ought to be. You know the future is growing out our own backyards. But if they cut down all the trees, we won't have nowhere to breathe. We grow fields of hemp instead. We can make our paper, build a house from it. It's a God's plan, growing wild and free, living the way that we ought to be. Gonna leave my children a better world than my ancestors left me. La 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 la. So in this modern day and age when we seem to lack spirituality, this one single plant can bring us back almost 10,000 years in history. To the Shiva, Puranas, the Jesus, the Christ, to the Buddha, the pagans, the goddess, the light. To commune with all the animals, commune with all the trees. To realize the goddess seekers inside me. It's the earth is a mother, we gotta take care of the earth. The earth is the mother that gives life birth. And we can heal our relations with a single green plant. We can start right now. But if we cut down all the trees, we won't have nowhere to breathe. Grow fields of hemp instead. We can make our paper, build a house from it. It's the goddess plan, growing wild and free, living the way that we ought to be. Gonna leave my children a better world than my ancestors left me. Whoa. Yeah, la 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 la. Whoa.
Well, over the last few years, I've had many people that I know quite well, and have contacted me and told me, they said, Rick, you've done enough. Get back to having some kind of life of your own. But in reality, I just sit there and I see, the dying and suffering continues on. And I just really don't feel that I can stop until we put an end to all of this. So, it seems sometimes like a hopeless battle, but we are gaining a lot of ground, and so many people are being helped, everywhere. So it's really just a matter of time before all of this comes about, and we do have free access to this amazing medicine. But, we just can't, it's not time to hang up your guns until the fight is over. And so I'm going to try to continue on as long as I can. I freely admit it, I am mentally exhausted over this subject. And it really has taken me down a long ways. This last 10 years have been very hard on me. All of a sudden you see your country for what it is. You lose your home, you lose your country, your whole way of life is gone. And then when I look at Canada, and I can't even use the medicine I require here. To me, living in Canada really doesn't make any sense anymore. Not to mention the horrible climate we have most of the year. So, there's many reasons for me to want to go elsewhere. But I do care about the Canadian people, and I hope that they'll rise up one of these days and get rid of that tyrant, Stephen Harper, because that man is nothing but a dictator. And everything I see about him is nothing but evil. And it's more than obvious he's working for the Bilderbergers and all the rest of them, and he's certainly not working for the Canadian people. But that's the same in all countries. You got your government in England. What are they doing to help the English people? What's the Queen doing? And then you look at all the other countries in the world, and they're all suffering under similar circumstances. So, I think it's just about time that we all started reacting to what's real. Use knowledge. And we have ample proof here about everything we're saying. You know, we're not pulling anybody's leg, or we're not exaggerating, and we're certainly not a bunch of potheads that are simply doing this to get, smoking pot legalized. Smoking pot is just another form of preventative medicine as far as I'm concerned. Because, like it's a proven fact that people live longer who use hemp or smoke hemp. So it is truly a preventative medicine that can be used recreationally with good effect. But yet, the system has, put this slant on things that, like pot is evil, and there's something wrong with people who smoke it. But the same people that are telling us, this, they're sitting around, drinking their booze and taking their pills. Who's got it right here? Us or them? And I think anybody with a brain in their head would come to realize very quickly that we're the ones that are making sense, not the system.
Hey, you know what, Rick? The time is coming very, very soon, my friend, when we'll all be able to go to a court of law and sue our doctors' asses. Because what they're holding back, they know. They know that this is out there now. It's not like it's a secret to them anymore. They read the reports and they're quite aware of what's going on behind the scenes, yet they continue to go down the same path, and yet they know they're killing us. Well, when we think about that, buddy, if we all started suing our doctors left, right, and center and demanding this because it is a known fact, what's going to happen? We are going to affect some change. That's an angle we should all be approaching, my friend. Just a comment I wanted to make.
Well, I would agree, but if the day ever comes that we put these people on trial, we have to do it in a common law court, because these courts we have today, they're not about justice. They're just going along with the government and the medical system. So they're never going to find a doctor guilty of anything.
But Rick, if we all rise in mass, buddy, and we all go and say this to our doctors, they are going to be forced to listen to us. If we all go and say this, it is going to take a rise of the mass to make this happen. We know that. But if we all start doing this and we do get a rise going, buddy, and we approach our politicians, put them on the spot, and say, hey, buddy, this stuff is real and it's out there. Well, I know we're just a small group yet, but I really feel, brother, it's going to be a wave, and the wave is really going to start to grow because people are becoming aware of this, and it's going to be demand because it is the answer to so many of our problems. Our planet, the way it's going, buddy, I didn't like to say we're doomed, but I'm very, I consider myself a logical person, and I see what we've done to destroy this planet in the last 50 years and what it's going to take to heal it. Sure, we need to stop cancers from hopping in our society, but the levels of toxin that we put into this planet, the levels of radiation that we can be exposed to here in the next 10 years because of our nuclear power plants, because of fertilizers, because of all aspects of our society, we're going to need cannabis more and more and more to heal the cancers that are going to rise, because it's going to take a long time for this planet to get rid of the toxins that we put into it in the last 50, 60 years, buddy. It really is. We've destroyed it so badly since the start of the Industrial Revolution. And that's what I think about a lot, my friend.
Well, you're quite right, brother. We have done, well, I won't say irreparable damage to this planet, but, you're quite right. Since the Industrial Revolution, we have done nothing but harm to this earth. And, any sensible person should realize that we need the earth as pristine as possible, to promote our survival. Instead, we run around poisoning it. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we've got to live here for a few years yet, don't we? Our kids are going to have to live here, and their kids. And, man, I look at this and I go, what the hell is going to be on this planet in 20 years if we're going the way we're going right now, man? The seas are dying. You look at thousands and hundreds of thousands of animals are dropping out of the sky. Fish, I'm reading reports and looking at them, and they just dumbfound me, the millions of fish that are dying, and millions of animals are dying around this planet right now without a logical explanation. Well, how much is this planet going to take? And we do have to live here, and our children have to live for God's sakes. We got to look at our souls and say, what the hell kind of future are we going to have? And if we keep going this way, folks, it just looks bleak. But I see this light on the horizon, and I've looked at what this plant can do for this planet. And I'm going, fuck, it's right there, guys. It's right in front of our faces. And it's responsible people in the future. We really got to grab this thing and work on it harder than anything you've worked on in your life, period. Because I can't think of a better thing to do, my friend. Nothing.
Well, you're quite right. And, and today scientists and people like that are playing with so many dangerous things. I know I was talking to a friend of mine today in the Czech Republic, and I was talking about the flooding that's going on over there. And he said, like the delta of the Danube has flooded. He said, that's never happened before. He actually feels that it's HARP and all these little scientists playing games that are causing all this grief in Europe at present. And there's a good possibility he might be right. They're doing so many things behind our backs, and, the chemtrails and all the rest of it, which we see ourselves, but most people tend to reject. But, when you see a checkerboard pattern in the sky over cities, that should tell you something, for God's sakes. That's not natural. And then you see the sky go all milky white. This is not what our atmosphere is supposed to be. And, but people just try to put that out of their minds, like we like to think that other humans wouldn't do such things to us. But it's abundantly clear that that's exactly what they are doing. And,
it's so in our face, buddy. It's so in our face. You look at every aspect of our life. GMOs, the Codex system. I looked at that, buddy, and you touched on it earlier. It's absolutely shocking. And they're spraying us with chemtrails. They're feeding us fluoride. They're giving us aspartame. That everything they're doing is designed the way I see it to kill us. What else logical explanation is there for this? We have to live on this planet. We have to exist in the future. But are we included in their plan? Sometimes I really ask myself a big question about that, my friend, because it looks like they're trying to kill us.
Yeah, it's all right. Don't worry about it. We'll leave that to David Icke, the lizard wizard.
Yeah, no.
The lizard, and his dancing reptilians. He can sort that out, can't he? There is a question from chat. Could we ask if Rick knows how Darren McCormick's doing?
Last I heard, he's still in jail. I feel bad about that situation, but, Darren's a bit of a strange character. I only met the man once or twice, and I know he has helped some people. But as I understand it, he's not in jail over charges regarding cannabis. So, there's little or nothing I can do here. It had something to do with antique firearms, from what I understand. But I hope Darren, I hope he's okay, and I'd like to see him get out of jail, because, I don't think he actually presents any danger to society. But it's like I said, there's people just being locked up for no damn reason whatsoever, and especially if they're affiliated with Phoenix Tears, which Darren did. He affiliated himself with Phoenix Tears, and, that makes you an instant target. They want to put you away, they want to shut you up. And it seems like I'm about the only one that they kind of stay clear of. And I think that's probably because I'm so well known now. And if they put me in a court, it would truly be an embarrassment to them, and it would focus more attention on this issue. And that's the last thing in the world they want. But unfortunately, people like Darren, they have to suffer. And, but that's the injustice of what goes on in our world. And, I believe in freedom, and I believe in common law. I believe in the harm factor. If you're not doing anything that's harming others, then should there be a law against it? Today they have rules and regulations up to yin-yang. It seems concerning everything. If you look the wrong way at somebody, you could wind up in jail. And, and today, I grew up in a generation where it was common for people to look at you and say, I'm going to kill you, because, they get in a fight or something like that, and the rage comes out, and they make statements like that, although they don't mean it. But today, if you make a statement like that, well, instantly you're thrown in jail. A danger to society. While at the same time our doctors are killing us by the thousands, police are imprisoning people that they shouldn't be imprisoning, and the governments are not working on the public's behalf. So that's the kind of world we live in, and that's the reason I want to see it changed.
It's just not bloody cricket. It really isn't, is it? It's just not right. Every time they fire a ball at us, we hit the ball and knock it straight out of off the court. It's not a court, is it? So you can tell it's not called an arena neither, whatever it's called. We strike the ball for six. And they go, no ball. And he bowls it again, no ball. You know, and every time it hits a wicket and one of us is out. It's not a fair game, you know. We've got, like I say, I don't think we should play that game anymore, Rick. We have got, like I said, I've mentioned this before, we have got a few people who are kind of popping their heads out. I did say there was hundreds of thousands of little lights. I've told people, look, Rick's not going to be here forever. I'm not going to be here forever. You know, people come and people go. You know what? We've got to make a stand, a good stand. And by that, I don't mean like, oh, buy a gun and lock yourself up, you know, and wait for them to come and get you. You know, whatever you do, if you've been prepping for something, this is it. You've prepped, right, to have 30 days or 60 days worth of food, so you could live on that. Get yourself together so you can finance yourself making a difference. This is what we've been prepping. This is the prepping. This is what we've been prepping for. This is one of many things. Yes. It really is. We are looking towards the price of shipping containers, looking at size of land. I know people are looking at the Go Indigo fundraising stuff, Rick, regarding Spain. We want to kind of do the original plan of hiring somewhere, getting your good self there, getting the system set up, getting you doing what you love to do. You know, more than anything, getting you've done enough. Let's at least get you doing what you love to do. That starts to build the seed bank. At the same time, we want to be looking for land where we can build. We can build and put into practice, as I've mentioned before. You know, aquaponics. What is it? Thermal mass. That's the word I was struggling to grasp. Thermal mass ideology of construction. In the greenhouses as well as in the building, reversing the technology for greenhouses in the hot temperatures of Spain. We're capable of doing this. Well, at least it looks like we're capable of doing it. Rick is a great, and I am too, I think you can't get a better source of light than the sun. And we should be allowed to grow under the sun. You know, we shouldn't have greyed out skies. We should be allowed to live in harmony under the sun. I'm not a utopianist. I'm not. I think we've got it. It's already here. You know, okay, whatever's happening in the atmosphere, we're blocking that light out. Yeah, there's something not right there. Yeah, my jury's out on that. I don't know. Something different. It's different. I know that. But hey, we're looking for different. We're actually looking for different. And I think a lot of these things that have been used to scare us, a lot of the things that have been going on, that's what it is. When people come along with truth, it's not a movement. You'll not move Rick Simpson, right? You might move him geographically, right? But that's about it, all right? You're not going to move it. You're not going to move me. No matter what you do, you're not going to move us. It's true. It's true. It don't move. It's solid. Solid as a rock. Well, and that's Paul, what we should build on. Rick, that's what we should build on.
Oh, I agree, brother. You know, and I mean, I've openly challenged, you know, the medical system for years. Come take me on. Let's do this in front of an audience. Let's do it on national television. You know, let's see who the public believes here. And, of course, the medical system, they won't come near me. But, I mean, it tells you right there. If they won't come on, you know, come on a stage or come on a TV show or something and take me on in person, then who are these people? I mean, I'm willing to bring the truth forward, and I've got the evidence to back it up. Now, what have they got? They've got a pack of lies. That's what they've got, and that's the reason they won't come take me on. It's that simple. But yet, you know, with their double talk and the media and everybody backing them, well, they're just going to continue doing what they're doing until the end comes. And I think these people are going to find the end very bitter. Because, I mean, I've promoted right along that we should not seek retribution. But in reality, when the whole world wakes up to what's been done to them, you know, how are we going to stop people, you know, from seeking retribution? And in reality, should we even try to? You know, I think it would be a bad beginning. But when you look at doctors and people like that who have literally been murdering us for decades, what are we supposed to do? Go up and put our arm around them and say, that's okay? we still want you as our doctors? I don't think so. So there's going to be some hard times ahead for many of these people that are standing against the use of this medicine. There's no question about that. And but still, I'm hoping for a sensible resolution to this problem. And the sensible thing is, if these people would just slowly open their minds and get rid of all that brainwashing they've been exposed to, because I honestly believe that a good portion of these people that are standing against this, they don't even know why. They're just going on what they've been told. They're not doing any real research themselves into this subject. They're just regurgitating the same old crap they've been told. And, that's to me, that's just not sensible. And this really, like I've said right along, this plant gives us the only hope for mankind. And I think that anybody that tries to stand against it is simply insane, because there is no other answer. If we don't have this plant, how are we going to get out of the dilemma we are currently in? I really don't see any avenue. So cannabis is truly the only answer.
Rick, I said about heirloom seeds a few times. I've pointed out to people how brilliant heirloom seeds are as long as you keep planting them. You don't lock them in your secure vault until the earth's burnt dead, and then so you can regenerate your seeds on the barren land. But for those people that have got that ideology that it will be all destroyed, don't put cannabis seeds in your heirloom seeds. Don't store them. Because when you come out, right, of your secret underground bunker, it'll be fucking everywhere. It'll be everywhere. Trust me. All right? It'll be everywhere. So you see, the way I look at it is, right, even if David Icke's dancing reptilians, right, even if David's dancing reptilians, right, and the rest of them that are going down the media stream trying to make us all look preposterous and stupid, right, they're, even if they're all bang on right, okay, eugenics, Agenda 21, we're all turned into flesh eating, it doesn't matter. Cannabis is still going to grow. We're still going to have it. No. That's all it is. As far as I'm concerned, how long am I going to allow myself to be persecuted? Because that's what's happening to myself. I'm being persecuted here in the UK for what I know to be right and true. For my medicine now, costs me, £100 a week. £100 a week. Just to get my own medicine. You don't get that much to live on. So, why should I be persecuted for something which I can produce, the same £100 a week, I can produce for less than £1 a week. £1 a week, it costs me to produce that. So why should I allow myself to continue to be persecuted? By hook or by crook, I'm going to change that, me. Because I can. I can put myself into a place where I'm not going to be persecuted. That's my bit of change I can do. And that doesn't mean that, what will Darkcity do? Well, it'll do what it's always done. It's fully remotely accessed. We can access it from anywhere in the world. That's why we built it like this. So we don't have to get tied down. We can move. We can do what's necessary. Go where it's necessary and do what needs to be done.
Well, Paul, there's so many of these people out there. They're quite well known, like Dr. Abrams in the States and Manuel Guzman in Spain. They're still spouting nonsense like, we should be mixing the cannabinoids with the chemo. Mixing the cure with the poison. Now, to me, it's more than obvious that these people have an agenda, and it's not an agenda that's going to help the human race. Anybody that's highly trained in the medical profession should come to realize very quickly that poisons are not good for us. So, I fully agree. We need cannabinoids to give us the treatments and the medicines we need. But why do we need poison? That doesn't make a lick of sense to me.
Maybe, Rick, it is heaven and hell together at once. That biblical side of it. Like I say, I'm not big on all that, me. But maybe they're right. Maybe it is heaven and hell. There is no above and below. Maybe it's all here. And maybe that's just the way they want it. Maybe this is paradise, and you can have it any way you want. Maybe Bill Hicks was right. And it is just a ride. And we can change it whenever we want. Maybe they're right, Rick.
Well, I don't know how anybody could say, what they've done to this planet and then turn around and call it a paradise because it's anything but. But I do tend to agree in a way, Paul. I mean, I think it's really up to the human race to determine whether they're living in heaven or hell. And at present, we're living in hell. And if we can get together, I think we can actually turn this earth into the paradise it once was. And I think people will become much more healthy. The earth will become detoxified. And, and we will have healthy food to eat again. I mean, I know a lot of people now that are currently growing their own food. They're raising their own chickens, they're growing their own gardens because they have lost total faith in our food supply. And who can blame them? I think the Europeans really got it a lot more right than they do in North America. But over here, it's ridiculous. Go to the grocery store, buy your poison, pay a big price for it, and then go home and eat it and then suffer. And that's really what's happening. And this is what I see with the expansion of so many diseases like Crohn's. It seems like everybody and their dog now is getting Crohn's. Well, I think most of that is caused from genetic modification. It's that simple. I have nothing against farmers doing selective breeding and things like that. That has proved to be a great benefit, for centuries. But when you start messing with the genetics of a plant, and changing it around so it doesn't have the nutritional value and things like that, then what are you doing? And why are you doing it? This is not a benefit to mankind. This brings about our destruction, for God's sakes. And, they're not just killing adults, they're killing children. It's just insane the way they're behaving. But there's so many people, they're making big paychecks for doing work in genetic modification. And it just seems that, that they'll reject, even the most sensible arguments. They'll reject them because they don't want to lose that paycheck, do they? And again, I think that makes a very sad statement for these people. I don't look at them as being real. I have to say that I just look at them as being nothing more than morons. I mean, you have to be stupid in the first degree to continue doing what they have been doing. It's that simple.
Rick, I think you've changed my consciousness again, Rick. If this is their heaven, I'm going to hell, Rick, and I reckon a lot of people want to come with me.
I want to come. I'll join you.
Are you with me? So if this is their heaven, we're going to hell, ladies and gents. Who wants to join us?
Give me that hell. Give me that hell with all those thousands of acres of cannabis fields. That's the hell I want to see.
Apparently it's without judgment. Apparently one side of it's got total judgment, and you get told what you can and can't do, and the other side you get to choose yourself.
I'm off to the hell.
I think I might be going to hell. And it sounds like a real good place. I do believe at the moment the tickets are going quite cheap. And I have got some cheap tickets, if anybody's interested. Those are tickets directly to hell. And you've just heard it, you'll get to meet Barry and Rick Simpson along the way. They're both coming to hell with me. And I will be there to greet you. And meet you as you arrive.
We'll meet you at the pearly gates.
Fortunately, there is no fire and brimstone. We're leaving that for the Christians.
Yeah, well, if there is, cannabis will look after it anyways, buddy. We'll just put on some cannabis suits and fuck the brimstone and fire.
Yeah,
we'll
on a serious note, though, Rick, you were saying about
sorry about that.
about people taking using the chemotherapy alongside the cure.
Yes.
I just like to tell people that it's not the best thing that you should do, but the cannabis will cure you of the chemotherapy as well. Okay?
Well, unfortunately, sometimes, when people are taking chemo, even if they're taking the oil, the chemo can still kill them because they're taking massive doses of poison. It's that simple. So I just don't see any reason to be taking the poison. And neither should any doctor.
Yeah, like I say, it's not really a cure. We've got to stop causing the cancer. Stop the cause. Start at the cause. Stop trying to cure everything. Stop dealing with it. Look at the ill ease manifesting into disease. If we're not at ease, we're going to manifest disease. To me, it's really simple. If I can get myself feeling comfortable, I look after what I eat to the best of my ability. I know it's not easy. I know it isn't. But, to the best of our ability, you make a bit of an effort. I don't know, whatever it is that's sharing this with us, I don't know, call it what divides everything. You know, the energy that's free space, or whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. It seems to help us out. If you do the best you can do, it seems to take care of the rest for you. You know, I mean, and that's it. I can't seem to get that any simpler, I don't think. If each one of us removes the ill ease we're at, then there'll be no disease. A lot of people are in between them 2 points. They're in between it. And I know that cannabis will assist all of them. It does. Go on, Chris.
Can this theory be done with ease?
Of course it can.
Maybe that's
not ecstasies. Ease. I think, man, it really is about just simply removing the toxifications that we're under, you know, in our food and everything else. Now, look, for some people, they're that toxified, they're going to need some help. Yeah, and cannabis, there's no doubt, that's what it does. The cannabinoid system, there's what's it called? The cannabinoid endo system or something.
And the endocannabinoid system.
Thank you, Rick, See, that thing, it's interlocked. You can't, how can they argue about this? It fits in, it triggers the natural healing system of the body. Now that's, you know, you're not going to be like, oh, what are you talking about? Natural healing system, are you a hippie? It's like, oh, grow up, you know, go and do the research. This is not hocus pocus magic, you know. Yeah, okay, it's been used for hundreds of thousands of years because it works. You don't need to change it. So yeah, it doesn't mean it's bad or it's ancient witchcraft. I mean, come on. I mean, we need to grow up a little bit, I feel. I really do. So yeah, I mean, I'm right with you, Rick, mate, in this. You know that, bro. I'm right with you. And it's not because you're there doing it. It's because I'm here doing it. And there's loads of other people like us. I mean, there's a lot of people that they pay their mortgage. They pay their mortgage, right, through the use of cannabis. Not necessarily growers, but, you know, through the paraphernalia, you know, the pipes and the you know, all the stuff that goes with it, what goes along with the use of cannabis, right? Mm-hmm. What you're doing, Rick, what you're doing and what we're promoting is never going to affect them. In fact, if this gets sorted out, just that industry alone, you know, that industry alone now will be open on the open market. And I mean, I know it's not illegal in most countries to buy these things, but it's opening things up. The more we open things up, the more trade we get, the better the trade. You know, there's people in Northern Africa who can't afford to feed the children. And they are probably the best growers in the world of cannabis, or at least some of the best growers in the world. They can grow on the side of a mountain, right, with virtually no water, with virtually no soil, and they produce a good crop. You know, this knowledge alone. And the only reason those people are hungry because of the corruption that goes on in delivering the medicine to the rest of Europe. And we've heard tonight of people from Rachel in the UK, yet again, with cancer, who are being threatened if they leave, they'll cut the money for food off.
Oh, yes. Well, that really doesn't surprise me, because I know what goes on here in Canada. I mean, when I came back last summer, my health certificate or my health card had run out. So I called them up and told them I'd like to renew my card. And, well, you've been out of they knew who I was. And you've been out of the country. I said, so what does that have to do with it? I'm still a Canadian, am I not? Oh, no, well, you have to be in the country for 180 days. In other words, 6 months. So this time when I came back, I've been here. So I sent in the other day, and I called them the other day, and they sent me the paperwork, but I have to give them copies of my passport, and I need another Canadian to verify that I am really Rick Simpson. You know, do I need a Canadian, or do I need somebody to verify who I am when I go pay my damn taxes on my houses? You know, it's ridiculous what they're doing. And even the lady I was talking to, she turned around and said, well, are you leaving Canada again? And I said, more than likely, because I travel and I speak about, I speak about this subject. And you could tell she was right off about this. And I said, lady, I said, do you leave Canada when you go on vacation? Why are you trying to give me such a hard time? This doesn't even make sense. But, that's, they design it that way. They don't want us traveling freely. They don't want us circulating. Stay within your borders and be a good little Canadian. Well, I'm sorry, but I guess I broke the mold.
Yeah, we can hear you typing, Rachel. Welcome back. It really is. It's a prison. That's why. It really is, Rick. I mean, you can only leave for so long outside the country because whatever you're spending, they need the tax money. They can't all of us go and spending our tax money in countries that generally need it. Oh, no, we've got to spend it on fiat currencies, Ray. Buying loads of shit we don't need. Even if we go and buy food now, a good, it's got to be, at least a third of the price, if not more. It's taken up in transportation and labour costs. Well, no, I know it's more. When I add labour, 2/3, probably 80%, 90% of food production is in labour and the labour costs are so expensive. There's so much tax on fuel. People have got to have more money for work because they've got to buy the stuff that's now so expensive. Everything's been taxed to the hilt. So, it's catch-22. They can't afford us to start taking our wealth outside. They don't even want us to trade over the internet. That's why as soon as you do a transaction, up until the Bitcoin ideology of free transaction, if I sent you a £20 donation via my bank, it would cost me £20 to do it. You'd get nothing, Rick. In fact, in some cases, you'd get a bill.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. But like I say, things are changing. People have learnt this. It's like, no, that's we can have. That's why we have Bitcoin donation. We really have. We've got about £200 altogether now, just if anybody's interested. All the donations that have come in to Darkcity since the onset have gone to Rick Simpson. All of them. And Darkcity has been paid for by the generation of its Bitcoin. That's what we've done, Rick. That's what we said we were going to do, and that's what we've done. So I can't remember the exact figure, but it's about £128 or something, £23, which has been donated so far. And the Darkcity's generated some in Bitcoins. What we did is we took that small amount, we put it into and traded in Bitcoins. So now there's more money than the people give us. It's at least 180 UK pounds because we traded it in Bitcoins and now we've stored it for you in Bitcoins, Rick. So it's a start. We only need 36,000 euros, and at the moment we've got about 220 euros. So, but we are closer than we were. We have got closer. We're only 35,000 euros short at the moment.
We have a little ways to go yet, I guess.
Well, yeah. It's nice to have a target, isn't it?
Well, I would like to live in a world where they don't put so much importance on money. So many of the old systems we had, the old barter system and whatnot, they work just fine. But it seems today like everybody's got this brainwashed attitude, I got to have as much of this paper as I can get my hands on. But in reality, it's worthless, for God's sakes. If a government stands up and all of a sudden their country collapses, what's their money worth? It's not redeemable in gold. It's not redeemable in anything. And then all of a sudden, all these people that have worked all their lives, they now have nothing. I just feel that what they're doing is so wrong. I don't want to work, I don't want to work all my life and then finally get a pension for the labor, I've done. And then you're restricted, like, we don't want you to leave the country. Well, why is it anybody else's business where I want to live? You know, I've done my time. I've done my 30-some-odd years of work. You know, shouldn't I have the right if I want to move to South America or Spain or anywhere else? Shouldn't I have the right to do that without being interfered with? You know, but this is not the way things are. So it's like you said, you know, we're all living in this invisible prison. But it is a prison indeed. There's no question about that. And, you know, certainly they are restricting us as much as possible. You know, and they're making traveling, you know, I mean, there might have been a time where traveling there might have been a certain amount of pleasure in it. But today, I mean, going through airports, to me, that's just drudgery. I hate going through those airports and their stupid scanners and all the rest of it. You know, and, I mean, I'm not worried about terrorists because I already know who the terrorists are. It's our damn governments. You know, and the people that are leading this world, they're the terrorists. You know, and, then when I look at the crimes that, you know, our soldiers have committed in foreign countries like Afghanistan, Iraq, you know, when they interfere in these countries, it just sickens me inside. You know, I know we have no business being there. We have no right to be there. And, I mean, I understand. I mean, when I look at these people, I think, you know, they must hate us. And who could blame them? I mean, we invaded their nations. We've blown, you know, their countries to smithereens. But we're bringing peace and democracy and all of this nonsense. No, all we're bringing these nations all we're bringing them is destruction. And that's a very sad statement, but it is absolutely the truth. You know, and, but they just carry on. We got to have another war. You know, well, why? You know, I think, as far as I'm concerned, I know there's a lot of people unemployed, but to join the military, to go fight needless wars, I don't think that's something that any rational human being should take part in. You know, if they want to have their damn war, let them go fight it. But, I'm telling you right now, I mean, I'll defend my property and I'll defend my family and whatnot, but I will not go to foreign countries and cause harm to other people. There's just no logical reason to do so.
Yeah, well, that's, I mean, Rick, it seems to me this is what they try to engineer, doesn't it? Like I say, it's pretty obvious. I don't think it's working. I think every time they try and, like, you know, twist one country against another, you know, the corporate media stream telling us that there's people in far off lands that hate us and they want to come and take what we've got and you know, and I think that might be us. I think it might be us who are going to foreign lands.
It is us.
You know, it's like, hang on a minute. It's all the other way around. You know, good turned out to be bad and bad turned out to be good, you know. Up's down and down's up. It's like left's right. And, you know, free choice is demand. It's like, whoa. I really get it. There's a lot of people out there and they're not fortunate enough for it. And, you know, I really sympathise with them. We know. You know, we know. I mean, amongst our little group here, we really can. We can grow medicine. You know, we can grow food. I mean, I don't know why. Why would I have to know, right, how to be able to, you know, grow food and produce energy from people's poop? Why would I need to know this? I live in the 21st century. There's some reason why all this information's coming together. You know, why we've got people teaching us how to grow into the natural environment, you know, through permaculture. It's not just about growing plants. It's learning how to work with the natural environment. It really is. I mean, I rave about aquaponics. I mean, this does not even pull off nature. It doesn't, except for the bacterias and the enzymes. You know, that's all it does. It supports itself. It's not even drawing off the planet. You know, it actually makes soil and organic things. You know, the little engines that make the world green again. You know, because I do think this is a beautiful place. I think it's an amazing planet. We're amazing people. We really are. I think it is already utopia. Like I say, I think we've got to stamp out heaven. I mean, we've got to stamp out heaven. Yeah, definitely. I don't know what's going on there, but, you know, it won't stop. Well, you know, if you think, why did we call it Darkcity? Well, hey, you know, I reckon the flip side might not be as quiet as they've told us. I reckon you don't have to die to achieve it. I reckon we can do it when we're alive. For all them that have passed before us, if not for ourselves, you know, for all them that have passed before us, why not, eh? We're here, aren't we? All of us, aren't we all here? I mean, this is the opportunity to get yourselves on one of the greatest adventures that, you know, they've not even written this history. Rick Simpson's making history. This will be written in history. Okay? Whatever happens, you're not going to stamp this out now. It's too late. You know, it doesn't, even if the internet goes down, it all collapses. Too many of us now know how to make it. Too many of us know how to grow it. And if all that does happen, the corporate finance will collapse. The corporate medicine will collapse. The corporate media will collapse. And we'll all carry on. All right, yeah, we won't be here talking to you. We won't need to. We'll be out implementing all these ideas we've got. We really will. Why don't we? Come on, Rick. Let's do it.
Oh, I'm in full agreement, brother. You know, and I mean, it's a shame but most people, I mean, they don't get to travel the way they should. You know, I've been fortunate because I have been in many different countries, and I've seen the splendor and the beauty, you know, of these countries. And I've come to understand the cultures a bit. And, you know, I've come to realize that, you know, that I don't look at any of these nations as being my enemy. Why should I? You know, but they're in the same circumstance. Many of these countries are in similar circumstances. You know, they're being preached to that, you know, we're the bad guys, but in truth, we really are. That's the sad part of all this. So, I mean, I can't blame these nations for being a bit upset with us. And I do beg their forgiveness. You know, I mean, a lot of people I've talked to here in Canada, they hate the way I talk because, you know, they run around with these ribbons on the back of their cars, you know, support our troops. Well, if our troops were actually fighting for something that was just, I would support them myself, no problem. But I don't support, you know, our troops when they're going over there and causing all this needless destruction. You know, and this, you know, and they're over there killing families and babies. My God, it's pathetic what's going on. And then our poor soldiers come home with post-traumatic stress syndrome. Well, not much wonder when you go kill a few families, it's got to work on your head a little bit, doesn't it? You know, and even the soldiers that come back, you have to look at the way they're being used by our governments. You know, the American veterans and Canadian veterans, I feel, are being badly mistreated by their own damn governments. But that's just par for the course. And I know that people will awaken and it will change. But my God, why does it take so long? You know, and I feel a responsibility. Well, I feel a responsibility to the whole human race. But, you know, really what tugs at my heartstrings, you know, is the children. You know, why are we letting them kill our children, for God's sakes? And they're doing it, you know, left and right before our eyes. But it's okay because that's the way it should be. Well, says who? You know, that's my question. Who the hell is saying these things? And what right do they have to be saying them? Maybe one of these days we will evolve into something a bit smarter than what we currently are. But I tell you right now, that day will not come too soon for me.
No, me, Rick. No, mate. Like I say, man, I think this is, you know, I keep kind of saying, come on, Rick, let's do it. Come on, let's do it. And it is about that push, isn't it? It is. We have got to put a few more things into place. We do need to raise a bit more finances over this summer. I mean, this is what we've got to do. That's how I look at it. And if people want to join on this adventure, then yeah, why not? It was Lee that said it to me about it's history, the writing history, and it is. It really is. There's a few firsts amongst us, and you know, and that's not necessarily important. What is important is that we do actually put these alternative ideas, which aren't that alternative. The actual use of hemp and cannabis is not an alternative. It's a mainstream idea. That's what it is. A mainstream idea, and that's really what we've got to demand, that it is now mainstreamed. These corporate companies, newspapers, television programs and so forth, they are not putting this, that's not representing people. That is blatantly lying. Blatantly lying. I ask you to put more pressure on these. I know Barry's actually got some. But, how dare they, really? I mean, what's wrong with coming on our little station and talking to Rick? Because they're not allowed to. Hey, Rick? They're not allowed to come here. Rick can go there in their world, can't he? But they can't come to ours.
Yeah, they might lose their sponsorship. Well, I mean, if sponsorship is what's behind this, I don't think it's a very good reason, to continue on with what they're doing. It just saddens me. But, I know the day will come when this will all be over, but, oh God, how long does it take? And I look at all these individuals who are currently standing in the path of this medicine's use. I hope the day, and they're so willing to see us all suffer and die. I hope the day comes when they get cancer or any one of these horrible illnesses that they do not turn to hemp medicine. Don't turn to hemp medicine. Stick with what you know. Go take your damn chemo. You want to depopulate the planet? Well, there's a good way of doing it. Let's get rid of the idiots.
I had too many windows then. Far too many windows. I'd lost you then. I'm brilliant, Rick. Yeah, we'll sort it out. Let them all blow this shite out on one another.
Don't just let them kill themselves off. Why not?
I'm trying to work with integration, although you've got a very valid argument there, Rick. A very valid argument.
Well, I wonder, Paul, what kind of look they would have in their face. Because, we all know this works. It's all over the internet. But what would happen, if one of these judges or lawyers or doctors are laying in a hospital and you walk in and say, okay, now you're going to take your own medicine. How do you feel about that? What would, what would be the look on their face?
Hey, you're a star, Rick. You really are. I'm right with you, man. All right. It's just, yeah. Bill Hicks said it, you see. You should have no remorse for the genetically stupid people who decide to blow one another up. If they're going to shoot at one another, I'm filming it. That's what Rick. Don't blame me. Anyway, you've got 5 minutes. Rick. I think Hazel might want to get in there as well.
Go ahead, Hazel.
I just wanted to say, watch your blood pressure, Rick. Watch it. You're about to blow there, hon.
The oil keeps my blood pressure under control, thankfully. But if I have enough of it. But I honestly have to say, after I was injured, I felt like I was in a hopeless situation. And then when I discovered this oil, I never thought that I could come back to a state of good health. I never thought that for a second. But then this wonderful oil, it brought me back. And, and when I have a steady supply of this oil, it makes it so I've never felt better in my life. But other people feel that I don't have the right to use this. And, that's just lunacy. If anything is beneficial to a person and is doing no harm to anyone else, then why shouldn't you be allowed to use it? I know there are corporate reasons for it all, but, should we be dying, like I said, for their profit margins? I really don't think so. And, as for these wars and all the rest of it that they continue on with, well, I think it takes an idiot to go fight a war because there's nothing to fight against. We should be promoting understanding, for God's sakes. Instead, we're walking into these countries with the bullets and mortars and, and weapons of mass destruction and just, destroying everything in our path. And to me, that's just not sensible. But still they do it.
We're kind of doing ourselves in with compliance and convenience, aren't we?
We certainly are, dear. And if we would just go about things in the proper way, we can bring this earth back and we can all start living like as humans should. Learn to get along together and learn to work together and make this planet a better place for everyone. Not just one nation, every nation. That's what we need. And then in no time, I think that, the whole world could come to live in peace and harmony. And it really wouldn't be that hard of a task to accomplish, I don't think. It's just that we've always gone about it in the wrong way.
Yeah, I've put on some posts on my Facebook on Hazel Blackwell. Anybody can go see it, and it's really good for beginners to get an idea of what's happening with the law, what's happening with the medicine, the religion, and the education, and how we've been suckered into believing all this crap, right? So anybody that wants to sign up is more than welcome. I don't turn anybody away that wants to learn that stuff. And definitely the hemp and cannabis is promoted on there as well.
Well, that's wonderful, Hazel. And, and this is what I encourage people to go there too. Look into the truth. It's not going to hurt your head. It may change your thinking somewhat, but it's going to make you a better person, and it's going to make you a more understanding person. And I think that's what we got to promote, understanding. And, like instead of all this hate and everything that they keep shoving down our throats, that we've gone through, decades and centuries and thousands of years of the same nonsense. And where has it got us? Look at the situation we're in today. Is religion going to save us? I don't think so. Is our government going to save us? Well, I doubt that very much too. So it's really up to the human race now to save ourselves and to disregard all of these people that are standing in our path. They're literally doing this, for their own agendas. And that's not good enough reason for me. As far as I'm concerned, just get rid of these people. We don't have to kill them. Like I said, make them take their own medicine. That'll do the job for us.
Well, we just don't have to comply anymore, right? We don't have to play the bank rules, the insurance rules, the schooling rules. We just don't have to play the rules.
Unfortunately, we're all out of time, Rick.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to thank everyone for being on the show today, and another good show, I think. A couple days anyway, and we'll do another one. We'll keep hitting them until they fall down.